Now on the CTV News at 5, the latest on bridge repairs after a semi got stuck under Whoop-Up Drive. Plus, canola farmers are stuck in the middle again as China escalates its trade dispute with Canada. And a desperate plea for bottled water.
Telling your stories. CTV News Lethbridge with Jackie Scantlebury.
Good afternoon. Thank you for being here. We are getting a clear picture today of how much damage the Whoop-Up Drive bridge sustained after a semi-truck hauling a large piece of construction machinery hit the bottom of it last week. Now, the city says 4 out of the 6 girders underneath the bridge are damaged. Heavy load trucks are also temporarily restricted from crossing westbound. Carson Marsouk has the latest.
The damage remains visible underneath the Whoop-Up Drive bridge nearly a week after a semi-truck hauling a scraper took a wrong turn into the river bottom and struck the bridge.
Our engineering crews continue to monitor the girdles on a daily basis. We actually have a staff that is going to site and doing the measures and inspecting the girdles. That information is being relayed and conveyed to the experts, which are, again, I want to stress that, some of the top experts on bridge maintenance in Canada.
The city says 4 of the 6 girders are damaged, with number 4 sustaining the most damage.
Until we have all the tests and the analysis that the engineers are completing, we won't have a final answer in terms of how much the damage is and how long it's going to take to repair.
In the meantime, the city has taken a precautionary measure and restricted all heavy load trucks, aside from pickups, from using the westbound lane of Whoop-Up Drive. Several lane closures near Whoop-Up will go into effect tomorrow, and the city has adjusted traffic lights on Scenic Drive to ease congestion, with traffic being diverted to Highway 3.
We're all getting to that to the west side. It's frustrating that it's taken the time that it is, but everybody that's waiting there is going through the same thing. So we ask that you please be respectful.
The city says the cost recovery avenues include insurance and other potential options.
I don't see that being anything to do with taxation from our citizens.
Lethbridge police have charged the truck driver with failing to ascertain significant space for movement. The city says the situation is fluid and changes, including road closures, could happen.
The lanes that are open still remain safe, according to the advice that we have received from the experts.
Carson Marsouk, CTV News, Lethbridge.
Now, the city says residents can stay up to date with road closures, traffic delays, and live traffic cameras by visiting their website, lethbridge.ca. Highway 519 between Nobleford and Granham, it was closed for several hours this morning as RCMP investigated a serious collision. The crash happened between Range Road 525 and Range Road 253 on Highway 519 around 6:30 this morning. RCMP first responders were on scene for several hours investigating before the road was reopened around 1 o'clock. We've reached out to RCMP for more information and any injuries, but have not yet heard back. Lethbridge police are trying to locate 2 missing youth, and they want to know if you've seen them. 12-year-old Siobhan Small Eyes and 14-year-old Chanting Small Eyes were last seen July 24th in the Cardston area. Police are concerned for their well-being. Their whereabouts remain unknown. Now, anyone who has seen Siobhan or Chanting or has information about their whereabouts is urged to contact police. And an update from Pincher Creek RCMP, 33-year-old Andrew Burnt, who was last seen August the 5th, has been found. Mounties are thanking the community for their help. The RCMP is introducing a drone corridor along part of the Canada-US border. Drones will be patrolling the border in Alberta, Saskatchewan, and Manitoba, and what the RCMP says is a trial. They will target illegal activity, including smuggling and drug trafficking. The RCMP has increased its presence at the border as part of Ottawa's $1.3 billion pledge to boost security. All right, Danielle Savoni, I have been trying all summer to try to sand and stain my fence, and I am so close, and I think the next couple of days, we've still got some sun at least till tomorrow, right?
Yeah. So this evening when you get home, for example, you may need to you can get started on that, and even through tomorrow as well. So late tomorrow is when things really start to change in the far south, and we'll talk more about that coming up. But really what you can look at is the rest of today and through much of tomorrow is pretty quiet, while areas further to the north here, central Alberta, and really in through Hanna, Coronation, almost to Calgary, really to Airdrie, is where we even have a severe thunderstorm watch in place. So more activity going on there, not in the far south right now. 29 degrees is the temperature in Lethbridge, mainly sunny skies. And we look at temperatures overall. It's a hot one today, and it will be hot tomorrow as well. More details coming up, Jackie.
Thanks, Danielle. Canola farmers woke up to some tough news this morning. China has slapped Canada canola with an over 75% tariff amid an anti-dumping investigation. Quinn Keenan has that story.
China is the second largest importer of Canadian canola behind the United States. But that's likely to change as Canadian canola now faces a 75.8% tariff that will go into effect Thursday. The news sent the value of canola tumbling.
I did a quick calculation, obviously, this morning was we lost 7% of our, what our product is worth right now. So, it can be a lot of money.
The new tariff would be a bitter pill to swallow any time of the year for Canada's 40,000 canola farmers. But the tariff being announced right before harvest is worst-case scenario. Many producers will be out hundreds of thousands of dollars.
We still have tariffs on all their stuff, and it was just a matter of time before they escalated, and we know where they're going to escalate it. It's to Western Canadian farmers, and that's what they've done. Like this morning, I woke up to a $500,000 hit to my farm.
China is accusing Canadian producers of exporting canola to China for less than it costs to produce. The investigation was launched in retaliation to Canadian tariffs on Chinese EVs, steel, and aluminum. Some farmers feel they've been left out to dry by the federal government.
We're protecting EVs, which is a non-existent industry in this country, at the expense of not just canola. There's a whole bunch of other stuff on that list. Canola is a huge industry, like tens of billions of dollars, and we just throw it to the wolves.
The threat of a potential American tariff on canola is also looming. Currently, canola is compliant under CUSMA. But if the Americans tried to tariff canola, it would devastate the Canadian canola industry, which generates more than $40 billion and employs 200,000 people.
With tariffs from China right now, I don't think we can take too much more of a hit like that.
Last year, China imported $4.9 billion worth of Canadian canola. Quinn Keenan, CTV News, Lethbridge.
Well, the citywide water drive has run dry. Lethbridge's Interfaith Food Bank is now putting out an urgent call for more donations. Both the Interfaith and Lethbridge Food Bank are collecting donations of bottled water and money to supply this year's citywide water drive. So far, nearly 40,000 bottles of water have been distributed with help from several outreach organizations. As the temperature heats up through August, both food banks are completely out of water and funds, and both food banks are asking the community for help.
When someone doesn't have the ability to get out of the heat, we obviously have heat emergencies and things that can happen to you physically. But I think one of the other things that we often forget about is that bottle of water is actually a lot of relief to an individual, and just the simple act of providing that to someone makes them feel like they matter and that somebody cares about them.
Monetary and bottled water donations can be made to either food bank. The water drive runs until the end of the month. A campaign to keep Alberta in Canada is traveling across the province and is getting closer to the south. Previous stops in Edmonton and northern Alberta have seen long lineups of people wanting to sign the petition. Today, the petition is in Calgary. Dates for southern Alberta stops will be released shortly. The Forever Canadian group has 3 months to collect 300,000 signatures against Alberta separating from Canada. It's aiming for an anti-separation referendum or policy proposal.
We need the numbers to
get across the line so that we stay in Canada.
An opposing referendum question on Alberta separation from the Alberta Prosperity Project is currently in court. The province's chief electoral officer asked for the court to determine if the question is constitutional. A judge's decision is expected Thursday. The town of Coaldale and its employees are locked in a labor dispute. The union has voted to reject the town's third offer in nearly a year-long stalemate. Union members voted 39-9 against the town's most recent offer. The vice president of the Alberta Union of Provincial Employees called the offer insultingly bad. The town had offered a 4-year which would see wages increase 17% over that time. The town also offered to cover 100% of the cost of health and dental benefits, premiums except long-term disability, among other perks. Now, in return, the town had asked the union to reduce the overtime rate and to discontinue partial payout of unused sick days and the group RSP. The full offer can be read on the Town of Coaldale's website. Work has begun on a new pathway in South Lethbridge. The construction may cause some delays, though, for drivers. Crews have broken ground on a new multi-use trail that will run between 43rd Street South and South Park Side Drive South. During construction, the 43rd Street and 20th Avenue South intersection will be closed. Drivers can use Forestry Road South and follow the detour signs. The intersection is expected to reopen on Saturday, that is weather permitting. The United Church of Canada has installed its next moderator, and she has strong Southern Alberta connections.
New moderator, the Right Reverend Dr. Kimberly Heath.
Reverend Dr. Kimberly Heath was installed at the Knox United Church in downtown Calgary last night. Reverend Heath was elected over the weekend during the United Church's 45th General Council. Born in Zambia and raised in Canada, Heath was ordained in 1999 and began her ministry in southern Alberta at the Clare's Home Stavely Pastoral Charge before heading to Ontario, where she currently lives.
I hope and I trust that they see in me somebody with a deep faith. We need that kind of depth right now as the whole world just seems to be, as all hell breaks loose. We need something that is going to anchor us in our faith or just give us that sense of presence and peace.
Heath's term as spiritual head of the church will last 3 years. WestJet service is returning to normal after system outages earlier today. Passengers across Canada, U.S. and Europe were impacted, including those in Calgary. In a statement, the airline says a temporary system outage this morning delayed the handover of aircraft from maintenance personnel for scheduled operation. The issue has been resolved, but it is taking some time to return to normal operations. Anyone flying WestJet today should check their flight status before heading to the airport. Alberta will host royalty next month at Spruce Meadows. The Duchess of Edinburgh will be in Calgary in September for the Masters Tournament. The show jumping tournament brings in competitors from around the world. Earlier this year, Spruce Meadows named Duchess Sophie as its royal patron. Along with taking in some of the competition, she'll visit a number of local charities supported by Spruce Meadows. Well, Danielle is back with a 5-day forecast when we return, and we may be in the middle of summer, but planning for respiratory virus season is well underway. That story is coming up.
All right, here's your sky cam facing west. Oh, isn't that beautiful? Blue sky, hot weather. It will get gusty tomorrow. Things will start to change tomorrow, but we're going to hold on to one more day of heat and mainly stability for most of the day anyway in most communities in the far south. But as far south as Calgary for today, that's where it could get a little messy over this next little bit. 25 degrees is the temperature in Calgary, 26 in Edmonton. Excessive heat off in eastern Canada, Toronto and through Ottawa, Montreal, and in through Atlantic Canada as well, where in many cases, in many communities, that humidity is into the 40s, which, you know, no way to get relief from the heat. So really different conditions over there. We're in the heat, but it's not that bad, at least. Okay, 25 degrees again in Calgary, 29 in Lethbridge, 30 in Medicine Hat, Milk River, and close to that in Drumheller and in through Brooks as well. So today the winds are relatively calm. And today it's a quiet one for the far south. We're also looking at another quiet day for tomorrow for the most part for the far south as well. But really what we're looking at is it's slowly tracking down that instability. So just to the north of Calgary, Airdrie, just to the north of Standard, Empress, those areas under severe thunderstorm watch for today, and then that activity will slowly start to track south tomorrow. Right now what's happening is this is a low pressure system taking a ride on the jet stream. So it's going to remain mainly in central Alberta and track as far south as almost Calgary. Calgary, we could see a little bit there, but again, we're protected down to the far south for a little bit. I'm going to show you the futurecast in just a second to give you an idea of what areas may see some activity tomorrow, but for the most part, it will really not arrive until tomorrow night. Okay, here's a look at the jet stream. which is in the yellow and the green here, edge of the ridge of high pressure. This is tracking down though. And that's why, again, things are going to change for tomorrow. And ahead of this, we're going to get some strong wind gusts tomorrow in many communities. Okay, so Futurecast showing you that activity as we head through this evening is really north of Calgary. And when I fast forward though to tomorrow, you can see really as far south, maybe even Nanton could see a little bit of this, Brooks could see a little bit of this in the afternoon tomorrow, and even Medicine Hat could see a little bit of this activity. Smaller chance of it tracking that far south, but there is a little bit of potential. In the afternoon hours. The better chance is tomorrow night, in through the overnight hours, in through Thursday morning, when we're really looking at this tracking to the far south. We could pick up about 5 millimeters of rain in some communities, Lethbridge included in that as well. And this rainfall will last in Lethbridge until Thursday morning and then start to clear out. But Thursday will be a cooler day. All right, 31 degrees for tomorrow in the East Kootenay area. Again, windy tomorrow ahead of the changes. So gusts around 40 kilometers per hour, but a good chunk of sunshine for tomorrow. Crowsnest Pass, a lot of sunshine for tomorrow as well. Gusts, though, up to 80 kilometers per hour possible, and a high close to 30 for tomorrow. Medicine Hat, 14 overnight tonight. Quiet for the most part, but by 3 in the afternoon, that's when we get into the small risk of any sort of instability, showers or thunderstorms. And then in the overnight hours, tomorrow night is when we get into that higher risk of that. But a high of 35 for tomorrow, 33 for Lethbridge for tomorrow. Lots of sunshine, but it will be gusty up to 60 kilometers per hour. And then by the evening hours, we get into the chance of thunderstorm activity. That rain carrying into Thursday morning, then clearing out, and it will be hot, high 20s by the weekend.
The South Health Zone continues to get closer to hitting the 1,000 measles case mark. The number of cases appears to be slowing down, though. Over the last 24 hours, only 8 new cases have been confirmed, although 7 are in the south. That pushes the region's total to 968 since the outbreak began in March. Across the province, there are 1,741. The best protection against the highly infectious disease is 2 doses of the MMR vaccine. Well, respiratory virus season is just around the corner, and this season the UCP government says it will offer antibody protection to high-risk infants. Now, one group is urging all provinces to make sure that all babies are protected from the virus. CTV's Pauline Chan reports.
Respiratory syncytial virus, or RSV, is the leading cause of infant hospitalizations in Ontario, with 1 in 50 babies affected in their first year.
The issue of RSV and raising awareness is so important because of what we went through with Willa.
That was in 2023, before immunizations against RSV were available in Canada.
The emotional trauma of seeing your 2-month-old be hooked up to all these machines. She was sick for about 2 weeks. We were in the hospital for 4 days. Then I would say it took a couple more weeks for her to start getting back to herself.
We don't have an antiviral drug. What we do is what we call supportive therapy, so oxygen, IV fluids.
Dr. Vivian Brown says RSV is a very common virus that can affect any baby.
The number one risk is no risk. We see it in normal, healthy babies.
The majority of infants recover, but it can leave permanent effects.
Every time she gets any sort of respiratory illness, it takes a really long time for her to recover. And I think that can be correlated to her experiencing RSV.
Right now, Ontario is the only province covering both the vaccine Abrysvo, offered late in pregnancy to protect newborns, as well as antibodies called Beyfortus, given to infants.
If they had been available, I would definitely have opted in to having the vaccine prior to giving birth to her.
The Federation of Medical Women of Canada is urging all provinces and territories to follow Ontario's example. But even in Ontario, many families aren't aware that this protection against RSV is available. Pauline Chan, CTV News.
Still ahead on the CTV News at 5. Alberta's hosting the National Ultimate Frisbee Championship. We have those details coming up. Welcome back. We begin on the baseball diamond with a look at the WCBL playoffs. The Sylvan Lake Gulls pulled off a sweep with an 8-4 Game 2 win over Okotoks last night. It's the first time in team history the Gulls will appear in the finals. In the East, Saskatoon kept their season alive with an 8-4 win over Regina. Now the Berries and Red Sox meet tonight for a winner-take-all Game 3 with a spot in the finals on the line. First pitch is 7:05. The Hlinka Gretzky Cup is underway in Czechia and Slovakia. A number of players from Southern Alberta's WHL teams are taking part. Philip Novak, who was just drafted by the Hurricanes in the CHL import draft, is playing for Team Czechia. Liam and Marcus Ruck from the Medicine Hat Tigers are suiting up for Team Canada. And American Tigers players Noah Davidson and Schaefer Gordon Carroll are representing the United States. The tournament runs until August the 16th. The Frisbees are flying in Edmonton with more than 1,500 athletes competing for the Ultimate Frisbee National Championship. Men and women in both senior and junior age groups will be competing all week long at Ivor Dent Sports Park. Organizers say the 7v7 game is like a combination of football, basketball, and soccer, but there are no referees. The players are expected to know and enforce the rules themselves. Edmonton previously hosted the event in 2016 and 2019. Since then, the sport has grown in popularity.
If you look like 10 years ago, you'd have nowhere near this many juniors teams especially, and it's a really great example of how all of the provinces can come together and kind of field multiple teams.
Top teams from this week will get the chance to qualify for the Ultimate Frisbee World Cup that is in Ireland next year. Ponoka surfer Bailey Rush just keeps racking up the wins. On Sunday at the 2025 World Games, Rush made history by winning the sport's first gold medal in the women's wake surfing. This means the first time that wake surfing has been included in the World Games, showcasing it to the world. Rush is a 6-time world champ, a 3-time Canadian champ, a U.S. champ, a European champ, and now a World Games champ. Still ahead on the CTV News at 5, we have a rather unique fish tale to tell you when we come back. When it comes to fishing stories, there are plenty of tall tales, but this one is absolutely true, and we have the video to prove it. It happened earlier this week just off the coast of BC's Salt Spring Island. Reel it in! That's retired Vancouver firefighter Steve Bauer reeling in a salmon after jumping off his boat into the ocean. It all started when his fishing rod and a special reel he just received for his birthday fell overboard. When Bauer jumped in to save his gear, he quickly realized there was a big fish at the end of the line. Somehow he managed to keep his head above water while still reeling. His buddies back on board quickly turned off the motor to rescue their friend. Bauer then swam alongside, passing off the rod and reel to another friend as the rest of the group pulled him back on board. A few minutes later, they also landed the salmon.
Get the water, no! Get it in!
Well, it turns out they had caught a spring salmon, which you can't keep at this time of year. So after this quick photo op, they released it back into the water. But all they went home with was a great fishing story for the ages. Thank you for sharing this time with us tonight. Now here's the early edition of the CTV National News.